Hello, students! In class, we have finished reading and discussing Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Before we take our exam, I want to make sure that you are really understanding the symbolism, imagery, illusion, and themes throughout the book. So we are going to start with illusion. An illusion is, plain and simple, a reference. You'll find illusions when what you're reading makes a reference to something outside of itself, whether another work of literature, something from pop culture, a song, myth, history, or even the visual arts. So what illusion do we see in The Prisoner of Azkaban? The hippogriff. Half horse, half giant eagle, the hippogriff is a representation of the god Apollo. Apollo has often been depicted as a hippogriff in art. The name hippogriff is derived from the Greek hippo, meaning horse, and Latin griff, which also has its roots in another mythical creature, the griffin. The griffin has the head of an eagle and the body of a lion, whereas the hippogriff has the head and front legs and wings of an eagle and the body of a horse. So you can tell that this beast is rightfully named if you know your mythology and your ancient roots. The hippogriff is an illusion because it is referencing Apollo and the mythological griffin creature.
Next, we will talk about imagery. In Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, there's a lot of imagery and symbolism centered on death. One major example of this is the Dementors. J.K. Rowling gives us some excellent imagery on these frightening creatures. In Chapter 10, we read, "Dementors are among the foulest creatures that walk this earth. They infest the darkest, filthiest places. They glory in decay and despair. They drain peace, hope, and happiness out of the air around them." Another recurring example in the novel is that of the Grim, an ominous black dog that keeps showing up. Ron tells Harry that his uncle was rumored to have seen a Grim and died the next day. Although we eventually find out that the black dog is not the Grim at all, Harry is told throughout the book that seeing it is a bad omen symbolizing death. Fortunately, not all of the death imagery is negative. Harry's Patronus, for example, seems to be an image of hope while facing death and despair. When Harry figures out that the stag Patronus actually came from himself and not his dad, it symbolizes that he has accepted his father's death and can begin to move on.
Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban also contains a lot of symbolism, especially found within the names of the characters. Symbolism, as we know, is the act of implying meaning through a different representation. The first example we see of symbolism in names is through the character Sirius Black. Sirius, as we know, is Animagus is a black dog. Sirius is named after the star, which is also known as the dog star, so Sirius Black, literally translated, means black dog. The second example of symbolism is through Professor Remus Lupin. As we know, Professor Lupin is a werewolf. Lupus is the Latin derivative for wolf, and Canis lupus is the scientific name for wolf. In Roman mythology, Romulus and Remus are twin brothers supposedly born from an unknown demigod. Fearing their power, the king sent the two twin babies out to a river to drown them, but a female wolf rescued them and raised them. The final example is of the four names that pop up continuously throughout the book: Moony, Wormtail, Padfoot, and Prongs. Moony refers to the moon, which, as legend has it, werewolves turn with the cycle of the moon. This corresponds to Professor Lupin, whom, as we just discussed, is a werewolf. Wormtail refers to Peter Pettigrew, who was friends with James, Sirius, and Lupin, but later turned into a spy and betrayed the Potters to Voldemort. His Animagus is a rat, whose tails can often be described as resembling a worm, hence the name Wormtail. Padfoot is the Yorkshire name for a large phantom black dog. This we know corresponds to Sirius, who transforms into a big black dog. The definition of prongs is a slender, pointed, or projecting part, often referring to a point of an antler. This alludes to the stag that represents James Potter's Animagus form.
Hopefully, you enjoyed reading Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban as much as your teachers. There's so much to be learned from J.K. Rowling and the world that she created. What we discussed today were illusions, such as the creature the hippogriff, imagery, such as the recurring images of death seen through the Dementors, the Grim, and Harry's Patronus, and finally symbols, such as the names Sirius Black and Remus Lupin. All these literary elements add to the themes throughout the story, which include overcoming fear and the importance of loyalty. This last theme we see in the novel when Sirius says to Peter, "You should have died rather than betray your friends as we would have done for you."